Welcome to Connecting with Corinne, the podcast where I help you find your community one story and connection at a time. I'm your host, Corinne, and each week I explore inspiring conversations that connect us to the world around us, spark new ideas, and help build stronger, more meaningful connections. Whether it's through personal stories, thought-provoking discussions, or shared experiences, we're here to bring diverse perspectives to the table. So let's dive in and start. Welcome to another episode of Connecting with Corinne. I'm Corinne, your host, and today I have the wonderful Beth Davis here to join me. Hi, Beth. How are you?
Corinne, I'm so excited to join you.
I'm excited that you're here. So Beth is a direct realization teacher through Energetics and Truth. And you are my first guest who I have known the longest. We actually met in elementary school at Sam Livingston, and we were in the same grade. And we went through kindergarten together. So we went through kindergarten up to grade 6. We went to junior high together at Nickel Junior High. And then you went off to Scarlett. I won't hold that against you. I went to Beaverbrook, and then we reconnected in, I think it was about 2010. You were teaching yoga at the time, and it was just amazing. And I got into one of your classes, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, but that's how we reconnected. And then since then, I've kind of been following you actually in your footsteps. Because you were a yoga instructor first, like you said, fell in love with your classes, and then I became a yoga instructor, and then we just kept crossing paths with so many cool things over the years through yoga mostly. That's how I've gotten to know you, and I'm so grateful that we're still in each other's lives after all these years. And we used to play soccer together. I have pictures of us, and I don't know how old we were, probably 10, 11. Maybe I don't even know. There's so many pictures of us on the soccer team smiling.
Yeah.
We were the Bonavista, I don't know what they were called at the time. Lakers, but Blue Bomber, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's how I know you. So just tell a little bit about yourself. Tell the audience who you are.
Oh, who am I? I am a human being. I just recently heard that human means to be of the earth, which I think is so beautiful. I'm just really claiming that recently, of being of the earth and just transforming, really kind of connecting with the truth of who I am and allowing my form and my expression to evolve in the most naturally aligned ways possible, which sounds fantastic. And it is, but it's also the hardest thing I've done in my entire life. But I also can't imagine doing life in any other way, trying to become more and more aligned with who I am and offer that forward is, I think, my calling. Yeah. Yeah. What else can I tell you about me? Yoga. Yeah, I've been on a massive healing journey. God, since I was probably 16, Corinne, between going to therapy and going through different healing modalities. And eventually that led me into teaching yoga. I was really drawn to yoga because, like you said, soccer, and I was in dance and horseback riding. So I was always a physical person. So, like most people, I think, went to yoga to get in shape, which is, really what's going on right now. Yoga's become boutique fitness. And something just really drew me in. I think we met in a hot studio.
Yes.
In a really hot studio. And for me, I honestly found that I suffered in that class more than I suffered in life, which is what kept me coming back, which sounds weird. But when you've been through a lot of traumas, for lack of a better word, a lot of things that kind of shift your perception of yourself, going into a situation that's contained, that initiates a mass amount of suffering, when you walk out of that container, everything feels like a breeze. So let's go and suffer for 90 minutes, and I could walk through my life, and it didn't matter what car cut me off or what person yelled or what was going on around me. I was kind of able to float in this contented state. And that to me was just strange. Like, this seems like a key to life. So I just never stopped. And I ended up creating in-home studios, really small, again, containers where I could really do the work and cycle within to connect deeper and deeper to myself, and fell in love with teaching one-on-ones. So the yoga went beyond being a boutique fitness class to working in healing situations and working with people physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So starting to really connect all four bodies and treat the human as a holistic human And I was blessed with seeing 20 to 30 people a week. And that's where I say my knowledge came from, was these people that were willing to step into my space and be so vulnerably exposed and authentic that we could just clearly see the next layer of their healing. And when we could see or witness that layer together, it immediately started to shift, which was the cool thing, that I realized that you didn't actually have to do much other than spend time paying attention to yourself, seeing what needed healing, and then just allowing that healing process to happen. That kept on evolving. And COVID happened, which forced me online where I didn't want to be. I was one of those people like, no, I'm only doing this in person. I'm in energy work. It has to be in person. But that's just not true. We've been gifted with these devices that allow us to connect. And fundamentally, yoga means union, to bind, to bond, or to bring together. And so instead of resisting the computer, I like really had to embrace it as like a tool to facilitate yoga or connection between people, between groups, and between communities. So I'm going into my third iteration of an online community, which is a process. I think a lot of people, you do something, you're like, this is it. And then you down and you have to begin again, and that's really life, is this breaking down and beginning again, and finding your feet underneath of you and being able to move forward no matter what. So each feels a little bit more aligned. So that's where I'm at now. I teach direct realization, which differs a little bit from self-realization in the fact that there's not a step-by-step process. It's immediate and instantaneous, and it creates like an immediate shift in perception and reality so that the healing happens instantaneously. And I do that through energetics, so helping people actually connect to their energy and how their energy is moving within them and outside of them and how that correlates. And truth. I've done so many layers of my own healing that I'm able to hold a non-judgmental space of truth. And so when you're ready to see your truth, it's the mirror for you. I've said for a long time, not your truth, not my truth, but the truth. I really do think that there is fundamentally a truth. And I teach these days that the truth is sensational, which means that we feel the truth. The truth is an experience. And once you've experienced it, you know it, which is what makes it very difficult to verbalize, because it's a sensation. It's a feeling. The truth is a feeling. I think we're living in a day and age where people are like, I believe this and you should believe that. And at the end of the day, I don't believe anything. I experience things. And when I experience things, I know them. Belief systems are these rigid boxes we put ourselves in that it doesn't make any sense, because at all times there's unlimited possibilities. So why would you have this one belief? I think the things that was said to me early on in my career that freed me was, whatever's true, the opposite must also be true. And sitting in that just allowed me to see all the perspectives and hold space for all of them to be true at the same time. And in that way, you never take away from somebody else their truth. I can agree that could be true. Now, could you perceive that the opposite is true? And when you can hold that for people, they expand. They start to step into that unlimited possibility, which is truth, right? We're living in unlimited possibilities at all times.
And I think that's amazing because I feel like so many people right now, and I'm kind of the same way as you. I joke I'm like Switzerland. People will say to me like, "Oh, I believe this or I believe that," and I just sit there. I'm like, "Okay, I can believe both." There, and for me, sometimes it's like, does it matter? Does it matter what one belief is? Does it matter what the second belief is? Because at the end of the day, we're living on this world, things are happening, and it doesn't matter. Let's just live and live as authentic as we can and just try to be the best people we can be.
Right. Even that word that you said, like matter, like I think that's half the problem, is when you say, does it matter? When people think it matters, that's object. You've solidified that. In
Yeah.
a world of unlimited potential, like you've made it matter. Can you make it not matter and open up to the expansiveness of all possibilities?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did you get into this energetic and truth?
I don't think it was a choice. It came through the massive number of one-on-one sessions I was seeing. I took a 2-year diploma program with Isak Garcia and graduated in the 2 years with one of only 4 other people in the world that graduated with him in that time. And it just required a really deep level of study a huge commitment. So the requirement of self-practice and teaching was unbelievable. And so it almost became like a cyclical nature. And I kind of hid out in my studio for 10 to 12 hours a day. And while I was doing self-practice, people would come for sessions and they'd leave and I'd jump back into self-practice. And at some point I did start channeling where truth, I'll say, started coming through me and I'd have a dry erase marker and write on all the mirrors. And then I do more back bending. And through that process is where I understood, like, you know, how Yogananda says, the spine is the superhighway to the infinite. Well, when you're repetitively compressing and back bending over and over and over, you know, up to 200-300 times a day, you develop a really deep relationship with your spine, which is the central energetic channel or your nervous system that dictates how you experience life. So just through that repetition, the consistency of developing a relationship with my spine or direct relationship with my energy, I started to tap into something that was so much beyond me, is the only thing I can say it. And I started receiving. And so I was no longer doing something. I was simply in a state of being. And when I could step out of the way, the truth would come out of me. And so messages and teachings started to come through me that I believe are, I would say, in the same frequency as Yogananda. So deeply integrated into the lineage that I study. And so that's where that understanding of energetics comes. And then I have student after student coming and, like I said, revealing their vulnerable truth so that we can see the healing. And then we can use the physical body, the witness of the thoughts, and work not just mentally, but emotionally, which became the energy in motion. And through that, you just have no choice. Like I say, that's what blows the door open to the spiritual realm for you. So many of us, I think, are just disconnected from the spiritual realm. We're just like, it was broken, like we got unplugged. And in order to plug it back in is getting back in touch of the energetic circuit that's flowing. And once that's back connected and you are connected to it, then you're connected to the spiritual realm, to your truth. Yeah.
Oh, so beautiful. And I know you've talked about working one-on-ones, but I know you also have built community when you first started the practice of yoga and since then. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I built many communities. One of the things for me that's really important in community that I think is not being honored these days is that communities are closed. They've almost become like cliques. There's something that doesn't feel good where you're either in or you're out, and people that are out feel out, which is the opposite of a community. If you're in a community, everybody outside of the community would feel in, whether they were in or out of the community. And so that's a part of what I've tried to honor as I've built different communities is like the breath, that inhale and exhale. There's this movement of people in and out of the community. And so it started with building Posture Club because initially it was so physically based, right? So it was like we were a group of people that like to move our bodies and created postures or shapes or forms with our bodies. And anybody was welcome to come into the community. We had stickers. We could give out stickers to each other and it was beautiful. And then it eventually evolved into Supersede Yoga, which was when COVID hit. So I made a move away from Calgary, went to a different city, and in an attempt to, and I'd also been teaching and training internationally at that point. So COVID shut that down. So what I wanted to do was to have, again, a living, breathing community of not just the people in Calgary I'd met, but the new people I were meeting, and then the people I had met while I was traveling. And so what I thought of doing was creating an online yoga studio where people had access to 5 to 7 live classes a day. And there was 47 yoga teachers ready to teach people live where you could just jump in and out. And at the end of the day, it was the marketing for me. I just didn't know how to get the word out about how magical, like what an opportunity. You weren't taking a recorded class on YouTube or something you downloaded. You had to have 47 different teachers' eyes on you, practicing whatever practice that they were an expert at. But like I said, it was the marketing for me that I couldn't continue down that path. I couldn't continue holding that because it was pulling me away from my work. So
Yes.
that slowly closed. And the next iteration was called Living Yoga. Uh, so instead of trying to deal with 47 yoga teachers and teach everybody about this, I kept it much smaller and just wanted it to be the teachings from the lineage that I trained with. And that went awesome. And then I realized that the people in the community needed a formal way to acquire the information. What I realized is I've now scoped out a 10-level course on direct realization energetics, and a 10-level course is no joke. We're about to launch course one. There's probably 30 hours of learning in there. There's a book of PDFs and personal devotional practices and collective devotional practices that they're working inside the community with each other. There's wisdom circles to discuss the content, and there's progress alignment clinics to work through different physical energetic exercises. And the issue was is that I had this much knowledge, and I was trying to meet everybody where they were at, whenever they were there, whatever they needed. I got you, I got you. And I realized they just needed something more tangible to be able to refer back to. And so I closed living yoga to go into my cave and work and work and work to actually organize all of this content into a method that people can follow and have access to long term. And then they all can be communicating from that one focal point.
Oh, that's amazing.
So this is the newest community that I'm about to launch. And like I said, it's just an evolution or expanding of what always was meant to be.
Mm-hmm. And how do you find that when one community, let's just say the chapter closes on that one community, how do you build up for that new community?
How do I build up for the new community? Momentum. Momentum. That's what my teacher, like Isak, would always say. You know what? Beth has momentum. But that's what it is. Maybe the easiest way I can explain it to people is that one of my teachings is you're going to start doing new things or rebirthing something or creating something through willpower. The thing is, who is Will? Because eventually Will, he's going to want his power back. So we can initiate something or create something new with Will's power. You can literally like reach in and borrow this power if you ask for it. But quite quickly, you need to connect to your own power. Because if you don't connect your own power, Will is going to take his power back from you, whoever he is, wherever he is. And you're not going to keep the traction moving. So, from that, I teach maybe the only thing I actually teach is to show up, do your best, breathe, and begin again over and over and over again, whether it's building a new community or waking up each day or just getting through the next 10 minutes. It's this continual process of just keep showing up, keep doing your best, keep breathing, because if you stop breathing, you're not here anymore. And then you got to begin again, always over and over and over again. And if we expand that out to like the yogic kind of perception of the continual life cycles, it's as small as every single second and honored as large as every single lifetime. That's what we're doing. And can we hold each other's hands while we do it? So that's maybe the other part is not only do I have that momentum and know how to reach in and take the first step and keep taking it, I've always had this incredible community of support. I know I can reach out to Corinne and be like, are you coming? And she's like, I'm teaching on Super C. I've always had these people that I think fundamentally see that I'm doing work that is based in love. And so because of that, I've had access to people to help me stay motivated in creating a new communities where expansion can happen for exponential people.
Yes, and I think this is a great segue because I wanted to always tell you this, and I'll probably cry because I always get so emotional when I even think about this. When you talk about love, oh my goodness, for anyone out there who has been in any of your classes, I can tell you 100% you embody the love energy. And I don't think I ever told you this, but back in 2010, when we did Reconnect and we were in that hot yoga studio, when I first started, it was because I was going through a little bit of a depression and I'd gone through depression years before. And I kind of saw the signs and symptoms. Anyway, long and short of it was I saw a therapist and she said to me, look, Corinne, why don't you try yoga again? And I was like, oh, I love yoga, I do, but I had done Ashtanga for a long time. And in my body at that time, if I have to do a down dog, I'm going to lose my shit.
I get
Right. And I'm like, the thought of vinyasas, up, down, down, up planks, low planks, all that. I was like, nope, not happening. And then someone said to me, there's that hot yoga studio in Midnapore at the time, and we won't name names. But anyway, you were there as the manager, and I think it was my first couple weeks I was there, and all the yoga instructors were pretty intense and amazing in their own ways. But when I finally got into your class, I felt seen, I felt loved, and I just remember that finally in Shavasana, I'm just lying there and I like again hot, so I'm just sweating, dripping with sweat. And the last things you had said was you were shutting down the lights and you just said, and I always say this in my yoga classes too, the highest in me honors the highest in you. You said, I love you. Namaste. And like I said, whew, the tears are coming now because when you said, I love you, oh, Beth, I felt it so much. And yeah, I cried. So there I am on my mat. We're both crying now. But I was on my mat, sweating, like just dripping buckets. And I had the ugly crying as I was lying there. Mouth was open, tears were coming down my face. And it was just this release, but it was like felt seen and loved. And it wasn't, you were just saying it. I felt it. When you were saying that when yoga helped you, earlier, and that you felt you were in this container and you had to be held. Your classes, regardless of what it's been, if it's been just even in the hot yoga studio, the back bending classes that we had, and you're like, okay, back bend, no, handstands, back bend. But it was still so much love, and there was just so much knowledge that you had with all of it, with the back bending and everything else. And just that compassion. And then when I've seen you do your teacher training, the unraveling, the love you had and the care that you took into creating the training, picking the people that you wanted to train, and then train them and then made them the instructors that they are with that so much love and care and support and with the mind seed. So, of course, everyone who has worked with you or has been in your classes, whenever you say, hey, I'm offering something, yes, people will come because you just have this ability to make people feel loved
Oh,
energetically. So, thank you.
so much. Yeah.
But I do have to say that because as soon as I found out you were coming here on the podcast, oh my goodness, I have to tell you this story and cry. We'll both cry here. And you were the one instructor that really pushed me to want to become a yoga instructor.
Yeah.
And like I said, I steal the highest in me honors the highest in you because I just loved it so much. And I truly do believe I see people for their highest potential, even if they're in a place where it's like, I don't feel seen or I don't feel like I'm at that place. And I still see you and I can see you where you are, but I can see you where you can be.
Right. The
Yeah.
being, doing,
Yes.
being, the truth of that human being, right? And if you can hold that space for them, they eventually have no choice but to see it. Everything you said. First of all, I want to say own it. Don't say you stole it from me. It's yours. Everything I do is mine. It is a part of the vast, infinite possibilities we live in, and it pulls through me. So from now on, you own that. Highest in me honors, highest in you. Into I can tell you the process of being able to say I love you, it was a healing process for me. I couldn't even say it to people. I had such destructive relationships. Corinne, I remember I'd been teaching for 3 years and a class came out of that same studio. And after everybody had left, I sat there thinking, I think people like me. That is how destructive several of the relationships I had chosen to engage in. I had been so emotionally abused that I didn't even think people liked me. And so that the practice of yoga, but then the practice of offering that yoga to others was so profound. And yeah, just reclaiming the ability to say, I love you. Like I remember when I finally it felt like a breaking, like I broke the glass container I was in and I just started like looking at people being like, I love you. I love you. And I don't care if it makes you uncomfortable. I really don't. And then I started telling whole classes, I love you. I'm not alone in that. There's so many people that it's hard for them to say, I love you. Like, would you say that to your friend? Would you say that to the checkout person? Like so many people are so guarded with that, but it's such a freedom to actually offer that to others. And the being seen, that's one of the things I always say in teaching groups. One of humans, like the human's most desired things is to be seen. So I need you to look in that mirror and see yourself. Like, see yourself, please, because you are the one that needs to see you. The only reason you want anyone else to see you is because they're reflecting back the truth of who you are. But that's what's so beautiful about that practice with mirrors is it allows people to see themselves. And when you can see yourself, you don't judge yourself on what you're capable of. You just see the truth of who you are once the layers start to come off. But it's that repetition of showing up for yourself and looking at yourself over and over and over again. Yeah, my whole heart loves teaching group classes. I haven't taught in a studio in about a year and a half. I run semi-privates in my home. So it's been very intimate for about the last year where I have no more than 5 people in my studio and they're very committed and they come to practice the 84 only, which
Okay.
is very intense 2-hour, very traditional practice with kriyas and bandhas and mudras and asanas and pranayama and all of it. I'm about to, in the next couple of months, venture back into studios. So I am really excited because when I teach, I feel like a conductor of energy. And it's like I see everybody's energy and we can actually pull it all together and we can breathe together, we can move together. And then it becomes like this, it's like we're all on a wave and a ride. Like we just jumped into a ride together. And then you come out the other side and you're like, well, what's that? I agree. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah, and your classes were always like that, full of love, full of a ride. Like I said, we would go into backbends and we go into handstand, and it was like backbend, handstand. And my body would just be like, I love this. At first, I think my first class, I'm like, what did I get myself into? What did I sign up for?
Yeah. Yeah, they just people say they call and they're like, what was that? I'm like, that was yoga. You just did yoga.
You just did some yoga and against the wall. The classes that you offer are just so amazing. And I'm sure even the small group practices are, even though they're small communities, it's still something.
Oh, yeah. And they know each other and they know what they're working on. And I train with them. I know them well enough that I can, out of the corner of my eye, be like, Jenny, arms up. Brad, get your spine straight. I see you. You're not doing what you're able to do. So they know my eyes are on them. And each of them, they have their own moments to have their own breakthroughs. And when one person has a breakthrough in a room, everybody has a breakthrough. It's like when you see one person, you see them. It's the whole like what's possible for one is possible for all. So when you see what's possible for one, it literally like blows your world open and you're like, whoa, if Corinne could do this, maybe I could do this, you know? And for me, that was truth. None of this came easy. Teaching didn't come easy. Backbending didn't come easy. I had to work my butt off for all of these things so I can meet you where you're at. I don't care if you're terrified. I'm here to help transmute fear into love. So show me your fear. Show me your fear. You could be seen and safe in it, and we can laugh with it and cry with it and move on with it and just allow it to be what it is. So yeah, it's such a gift to me. The practice is such a gift.
Oh, it's amazing, Beth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm excited for this new course that's going to happen.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited, Corinne. It is 20 years of collecting knowledge and studying under teachers and doing my own healing work on all 4 levels of being. And then being able to actually translate in a way that I feel it has integrity. Like there's nothing I would change. Every aspect is addressed. And it's really like it's an experiential path. So people don't just sit down and take in more information because they actually think you don't need any more information. We're so flooded with information. What people need is to experience themselves. So the whole course is designed for people to have this experiential journey of themselves so that they can get closer and closer to what their truth is, what their dharma is, what is your purpose. I heard the other day that yoga was the practice of learning how to keep your car on the road and figuring out where your car is going. And your body's the car. Sometimes you got to drive your car off the road to figure out where the road is, or you need to see somebody else drive the car off the road to figure out what direction you should be going in. So I really honored that and created a whole path of experiences for people, whether they're energetic exercises, personal devotional practices, so learning how to create a relationship with yourself, or the
Mhm.
collective devotional practices, which are all done inside the community so that you can see other facets in people, because we all know that we're one. So it doesn't do any good if you're just self-reflecting. You have to see all the facets of everybody else so you can include that in your vision of yourself. And by the end of 10 courses, they will have all of the 84.
Oh, wow.
So instead of teaching it traditionally how it's just done in this sequence, each exercise and each posture is used in order to teach people how to get a closer reflection of themselves, how to move energy through their physical body, how to change thoughts, and how to deal with the emotional body as well. And then, like I said, by course 10, you'll have acquired all of the exercises. So you then could sit down and have your own practice in the series, or ultimately be able to self-prescribe. So my goal is that people can wake up every day and be like, I need this exercise and this one, and then go and treat themselves as an energetic being without having to outsource finding out what the physiotherapist needs you to do and what the psychologist needs you to do and what the doctor wants you to do. We're so busy finding experts. I'd like to guide people back to the truth that they are actually the expert on themselves and give them the tools to actually be able to move through life in a way that's in alignment with themselves on their own healing journey.
That's amazing. And then when the people get the 84, will they know the actual sequence itself? So the first, or it's going to be just different poses that, oh, amazing.
And different, because there's multiple breathing exercises, there are different kriyas. We talk with different
Yes.
bandhas and different mudras. In level 1, they get 5 exercises. And the first one is called traction action. Do you remember that one on the wall? And
Yes.
it makes space in your spine. And it
Yes.
bring that awareness to inside so you know what's going on. So you're no longer coming to me being like, what's up? I'm like, go stand on the wall and you tell me what's going on inside your body. Right? And that's not even included in the 84, but it's fundamental to people being able to practice an advanced practice like the 84, that connection, that relationship with the spine. We go over Savasana, as we both know, the hardest posture there is to.
It's the easiest one to get into, that, like we say, the hardest one to do.
Yeah. We go over back bending because that's how we transmute fear into love in the physical body. We have to, the rib cage is literally a cage around the heart. And so many of us are so busy protecting our hearts that the cage has become like almost locked. And because the thoracic spine is connected to the rib cage, that part of the spine becomes frozen. So we need the back bending to start actually releasing the heart, and B, bringing awareness to where the fear resides inside of the body. Most people are terrified of back bending. You even say the word and they're like triggered.
Yeah. It's like, oh my goodness. You want me to do what now?
And they do hernia, which is a posture in the 84 as well. And that's to bring all their attention into their center to recollect their power, essentially. And then they work on the Dharma wheel. Did you ever do the Dharma wheel, Corinne?
I know what it is. I don't think I ever really did it. No.
It's fundamental for beginners and one-on-one when I work with them. It's one of the only ways I know for someone to do a passive back bend. Right?
Mm.
So back bends are normally very active, very masculine. Like you have to contract things and be present, and it's a very active practice. Whereas on the Dharma wheel, someone can surrender into a back bend. And so we move more into the passivity, into the feminine energy, into the energy of being. And in that place, even more of the fear and the resistance can come to the surface so we can work with it. So those are the 5 energetic exercises in course 1. Course 2 has 13. So as you progress, you get more and more energetic exercises, but I definitely am leading people in a way that they'll be prepared as they move through the levels. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds so amazing, Beth.
Yeah, it
And
is.
where can people find this program?
Wow, you know what? I am soft launching it only to my email list and my social media network on the 21st. So you need to get on my email list, which they can head to my website. It's still bethdavisyoga.com to get on the email list, or follow me online, which is I am Beth Davis. And then after that, we're going to do a hard launch to the bigger community outside of my immediate community. We're aiming for April 1st for that. So it's coming up real soon. I hope that you will jump in there on the 21st.
Yes.
And you in this community.
Yes, please. Yes, I will. Oh, this sounds so amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for it.
It
Yeah.
sounds beautiful,
Yeah.
especially. And how long will this course take everyone to do?
So each level is a 90-day journey.
Okay.
There's 60 days that drip out that gives them the information, the theory, the exercises. They get different prescriptions throughout those 60 days. So they have the opportunity to acquire everything that they need, and they go through the personal and collective devotional practices over those 60 days. And then you can move on to course 2 if you complete the course. If you would like to be certified, if you would like a certificate, there is a 30-day challenge. And the 30-day challenge includes all exercises in that level in about a 20-minute daily practice. So, what's really exciting is we have two branches. One branch is the Quantum Activation Academy, and then the other branch is the Frequency Research Project. So, people who actually want to get certified, they will be a part of us actually collecting data. What we're researching is the correlation between people showing up for themselves and their actual frequency in the way they move through the life. So, in other words, how much joy they experience, how much fulfillment they feel, how much satisfaction they have in life, and how it's correlated to how they're showing up for themselves consistently. So, it'll be a 90-day process total if you move through it efficiently. I don't create life, so you can take the rest of your life to create or complete course 1 if you want. So 90 days is the quickest you could do it in, but you can take your time. It's self-paced, and it's up to you whether or not you want to participate in the 30-day challenge and get certified and be a part of the research project that we're doing.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, so 10 courses at 3 months a course is a 30-month initially commitment. Like I said, you wanted to go through it that fast, which I think is in alignment. I think it takes 2 to 4 years to really start to master anything. Consistency in 2 to 4 years, you'd start to master something. And that's really what I want. I want people to learn how to master themselves, hold the keys to your own kingdom.
And just take that responsibility back.
Got it. Nailed it. It's such a big part of it is personal responsibility. I think that we are living in a time where people aren't aware of that is what leads to freedom. That's liberation. And I think that we keep thinking we can outsource liberation if we get a new prime minister, or we get a new president, or we get a new whatever it is, something outside will change and then we'll be free. And it's
Mhm.
just something inside needs to change. And the second it changes, you are free. And it's that accepting personal responsibility, right? And not just for the good stuff. People are so good at taking personal responsibility for the good things in their life, right? Like, I got a new job. Yay, me. I did it. I lost my job. That was a me. That totally happened to me. We
Yeah.
flip back and forth between taking responsibility and not. So it takes courage to
Mhm.
actually walk the path of learning how to and being willing to accept complete responsibility for everything in your life. And I like to break that word, even responsibility, down to the ability to respond. I think responsibility holds, it's a heavy weight now. People don't really
Yeah.
know what responsibility means, but it's just your ability to respond. And then being able to say, I don't have the ability to respond to that. And that's it. That's true. Now honor that instead of taking on another responsibility. And also at the same time, being able to look at something, being like, I do have the ability to respond to this. I'm going to step forward and I'm going to speak my truth or deal with whatever's going on in front of me because I'm able to do that.
Right.
That's freedom.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And where can people find you, Beth?
Where can they find me? I'm about to stop hiding in my little studio doing, like I said, I'm not teaching in any studios right now. In the next couple months, I'm going to start venturing out. There is a studio locally in Kelowna that teaches a class called The Roots, and it's called
Okay.
Quantify, and it's their version of the lineage that I teach. So I'd like to speak with them because there's a community of students that have been trained in the beginner level practice of the lineage I teach from. So they would be ready to move forward. I've taught in studios where I'm the only teacher of this lineage, and I can do it, but it's energetically draining because I'm
Mhm.
teaching so much. There's nobody else teaching what I'm teaching, which is really good for the students. It's good for studios because I think they tend to get dogmatic where it's like they only teach this style and they only have this whatever. And if you can give the students just a taste of something else, it makes whatever it is that they're working on even stronger. But like I said, energetically, that's hard for me. So I'm
Mhm.
gonna try and mosey my way into this Pronify studio. Other than that, like I said, find me Instagram. I'm on there almost daily, trying to give some advice and some uplifting light to those that are interested. Or my website, bethdavisyoga.com.
And I'll put those links in the show notes so everyone will be able to link you and find you and register when it's open launch on April 1st, you said, is the
Yeah,
launch of the course, and they can register online through Beth Davis Yoga.
absolutely. Yeah.
.com.
It probably will be changing. We are changing my brand to the Institute of Quantum Frequency. That change is probably going to happen in the next couple of weeks too. So when I have that link, I'll definitely send it your way as we it's just not about me anymore. It's growing so far beyond me. So kind of creating an umbrella that can hold the entire community.
Oh, I love that.
The leaders are beside me. I don't believe in hierarchy. I don't even want to say inequality, Corinne. I don't think we're equal. I think that you have tremendous strengths that I don't. And so to say we're equal almost diminishes both of us, but I believe in sitting in a circle where we're all equidistant from each other. And so this umbrella, moving away from Beth Davis Yoga and into the Institute of Quantum Frequency, allows me to hold space for that umbrella of people really to sit beside me and reflect with me.
Oh, beautiful, Beth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It's so good to catch up with you and to chat. Is there anything else you want to just say before we leave?
Yeah, I want to know about your community. Please tell me about this community you're building because I'm super excited for you.
Oh,
The growth.
well, I mean, this podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the whole point of this podcast is to really just connect people to others because I always joke my superpower is somebody will come to me and say, "Hey, Corinne, do you know somebody or can you do this for me?" And I'll say, "Maybe I can," but there's sometimes I'm like, "I can't." I can teach a little bit of Hot 26, but there's somebody else who is amazing. Or if you want to learn backbending, here's Beth, right? I'm always that person of I may not be able to help, but I may know somebody who does. And I've
Oh,
been that middle person. You came to me, I will now present you to somebody else. Here's this person. And I thought to do this as a podcast because I just want to showcase all the amazing people I know in my life, but also people that are looking for community
yeah.
in whatever aspect, what it could be yoga, it could be through a work thing, it could be through hobbies. And so this is why I've decided to do the podcast. And I'm so grateful for people like you who I can't call the action and said, please come on. And you've come on. And here you are. And you're creating and building amazing things. And I think if people are resonating with this, then they can come and connect with you. And that's really my goal is just to be this little facilitator of reaching out to people that I know and even people I eventually won't know, but who
Right.
are offering amazing things in different communities and just reaching out to a whole broad spectrum. So it can be anything from the nerdy stuff to the energetics with yoga or astrology or whatever, or even faith-based. So it's nice because community, finding our people and finding those people that are welcoming. And it can be sports, it can be anything. So that's where the whole base is just based on community and connections and just helping people find tribes and people that they can relate to. Because I feel like in COVID, like you said, we all kind of gravitated, we hermited. And I think there was a lot of judgment and other things that happened. And right or wrong or whatever, people ended up, like you said, having different truths. And instead of looking at just being open, a lot of people closed.
Yeah.
And to go back to the communities that they thought were open and caring, but have different ideas, there was a lot of divisiveness. And so it's creating this space of connecting, connectiveness.
Love it. I love it. Like, I think yoga means connection. So it's like fundamentally you're doing yoga and teaching people that it is so much more than just a set of postures or a boutique fitness studio. It is fundamentally creating connections. It's been a privilege to spend time with you again and to collide with you on this beautiful path that we call life. And I wish you the most amount of luck on this journey. I think you're perfect for it. Have you seen the guy who does Next Level Soul? Can I say that?
No, I haven't. But yes, you can. Definitely.
He has a massive following, and he is so incredibly honest to listen to. And I feel like you're just doing, can I say, God's work? You're on your path, and it's
Yep.
beautiful to see you expanding in this way. It was like when I saw your post, I was like, yes, look at her blow up. I want to blow up with her.
You've created so much love and space for me. And I think it goes back whenever you post something, I'm like, yes, take my money. I have to be part of this with you, Beth. And so I am so grateful that you wanted to jump in with me.
Yeah. Thank you, Corinne. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And with that, I will post all your links in the show notes. Thank you, Beth, for coming today. And we will see you next time. So, everyone, stay connected and have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I hope today's conversation sparked something new and reminded you of the power of connection. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with others and continue spreading the message of unity across all walks of life. Until next time, stay connected.